Welcome back to Unlocked, guys. I'm so excited today because I have Lance Bass from nsync. Welcome.
How are you doing?
Good. And you know what? I'm actually going to apologize for saying that because I don't know if you like to be identified by that or not.
Oh, I'm very proud of it. But I love when Southerners say nsync because it's nsync for the Southerners. It's nsync instead of nsync. You sound like my family, and I love it.
Yeah, it's like all one word.
Yeah,
you know?
nsync. Yeah.
That is hilarious. Okay, so starting out, you're from Mississippi.
I am.
So from the South, we have that in common.
That's right.
When did you leave?
I left when I was 16.
Okay.
But not really leave. My whole family still lives there.
Yeah.
Now my Southern accent's coming back. I hear it right now. It's like, I just got back from Nashville too, so it's like really back. But yeah, so I joined nsync when I was 16. So I was a junior in high school in Clinton, Mississippi.
Wow.
And the guys wanted to put a group together. Justin gave me a call and said, would you like to be the bass singer? Moved to Orlando and yeah, tried finishing my high school with my friends, but that just did not work.
Okay. Yeah. And you grew up singing in the church, correct?
Oh, yes.
Okay. And how was that experience?
It was great. You know, growing up, I grew up in a very small town called Ellisville, Mississippi. So there was about 2,000 people.
Where is that?
It's close to Biloxi.
Oh my gosh, my grandmother's very familiar with that. She's at the casino every other weekend.
That's right. My grandparents love the casino. But it's, Hattiesburg, Mississippi. I don't know if it has, so it's right next door to Hattiesburg.
Okay.
And actually born in Laurel. I can't ever say Ellisville because no one knows that. And then I'm like, well, do you know Laurel? And now people know it because of that HGTV show called Hometown.
Okay.
So that's my hometown. That's where I was actually born.
Gosh.
But yeah, I mean, growing up in a small town like that, you live in the church. You're there 3 times a week. That's how, everyone knows everyone, and that's how you learn how to sing and how to do harmonies.
That's amazing.
So I am a church choir boy.
Church choir boy. I love that. And then with nsync, so now I'm gonna laugh every time I say it because now I think of you like.
See, now you'll hear it. You're like, yeah, I love it. I love the way Southerners pronounce it.
So you guys started, and then you took a break at one point for like a year, correct?
Yeah, it was 6 months. Yeah.
Okay, and why? What was the reasoning for that?
We were just burnt out. You know, we were. We got together October 1st, 1995, and we did not have a break until our break in 2002. And it was, they were just working us to death. We didn't realize that because we were kids, we were teenagers and we're like, we can do this. Yeah, whatever. And they're like, oh, you're young, you can do it. But we were just being worked way too much. And we all needed a break.
Yeah.
Mentally, physically, we all needed a break. So we decided right after that last tour that we were going to take a 6-month hiatus and everyone go just relax, do your own solo projects, just really kind of get your mind off nsync for a bit.
Yeah.
And then we'll start the album in October or November at that point. And so, yeah, we all took a break. Justin went off to do a solo album, which turned out to be huge.
Yeah.
JC did his solo album. Joey doing movies. I was, working on some movies. But then I got the call to go to Russia to train to be a cosmonaut. And so my hiatus went from me wanting
be a what?
A cosmonaut.
What is that? Because I bet I'm not the only one that doesn't know what that is.
We didn't really learn much about cosmonauts in school. It's a Russian astronaut. So yeah, that was
and
my
did you
first
do
love.
it?
Yes, I went over and I trained and became a cosmonaut. And it was the craziest 6 months of my life.
That's insane. What an experience.
Yeah, it was
like complete polar opposite.
Yeah, it definitely was something I had no idea was going to land in my lap.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was ready to just kind of like sleep for a bit. And maybe, work on I don't know what I was going to do, but I was just going to actually make a friend, maybe.
Yeah, make a friend and not just business.
Maybe, start a relationship, meet someone that I could fall in love with. I don't know. But then, yeah, I just flew over to Russia and spent 6 months on a military base learning how to fly to space.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
So how was it being, because in a way, now, granted, I had a little bit of fame, but like nothing like you. But I do remember the challenge of being 15 and on TV.
Yeah.
And at first, I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. Like, I'm hot shit. And then about a year into it, I was like, this is really hard.
Yeah.
And how did you deal with that? Was it a really hard transition for you?
It was and it wasn't at the same time. I was so young that I didn't know what was happening, right? I mean, your world was just lifted up. And like you said, at first it's so fun. And then, you get a lot of support when you first come out. It's like, oh, look at this. But then after a while, you start getting, you know, the trolls and everyone just really just trying to tear you down. And
Yeah.
as a young kid, you're not used to that.
No, because you're still figuring out who you are.
Yeah.
While you have the world telling you who they think you are.
And they're throwing like insecurities you already have in your face. And you're like, okay, you know. So, I mean, and this was, you know, we were big, thank God, before social media. You know, and I remember.
I couldn't imagine.
Yeah, and the only thing I would see negative would be in, you know, a Page 6 article or something that I would never read, really.
Yeah.
But the only other negativity you would get is those AOL chat rooms, right? So
Oh.
if you were in an AOL chat room, and we would have, you know, AOL would set up like an nsync one, so you could go in there and talk to the fans and everything. And I remember the first time I felt like, oh, that sucks, is when they kept calling me, I was the fat one. They were like, oh, yeah, the fat one, Lance. I'm like, what? So then I was so like insecure. I'm like, am I I guess I'm gaining weight. I don't know. But as a 17-year-old, you're just like,
That's tough.
okay, yeah. Even a guy, you know, you're still.
Well, yeah, it's still,
have a
and
little thin
too,
skin.
if you are already self-conscious about something, or you think, oh crap, maybe this could be true, when someone else hits on it, you're like, okay, I guess it is true, which is really challenging.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, because you didn't come out till you were 27,
Right.
so did you know?
Oh yes.
Like, when did you know?
I knew when I was 5 years old. And it's so weird because one of the common denominators of all my friends that are gay say that same story. They're like, yeah, 5 years old. And I'm like, yeah, because that's from some of your first memories. You know? And that just told me right there how natural it is. And it's just like just a part of your DNA. Because no 5-year-old is just going to make up, oh, I think I'm gay today. No, I knew I had a little crush on a little boy in 5-year-old kindergarten. And I knew what that meant too. So, and I knew that was wrong. So I already knew at 5 years old.
Church.
Yes. I was always like, gay people, for one, did not exist.
Yeah.
And if they did, that's bad and you're going to hell. So I even knew at such an early age I had to hide it. And I thought there was something wrong with me. Like, ooh, I was built wrong.
Yeah. And so how did you date girls?
I did. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about being in sync at such an early age, you know, I started at 16 when, you know, everyone's really starting to date, especially in the South, you know, you date a little late. So I was so happy because I was just getting to the age where all my friends were having girlfriends and going on a date and, you know, and prom nights and that type of stuff. I'm like, oh my God, now I have to deal with this. Now I have to deal with being gay because I know I'm not attracted to females.
Yeah.
So right as I'm having anxiety about having to date in high school and how is this going to look? What am I going to do? I have to lie about this. What am I supposed to do? I got an nsync. So it gave me an excuse to be like, oh, I'm working too much. I'm too busy. I can't do this. So it really gave me a shield for many years to be able to pretend I wasn't gay.
Wow. And so how would you say the church impacted your coming out?
Yeah, it's, you know, I have a love-hate relationship with the church. You know, I still consider myself a Christian. And, you know, I have my own walk with God and I have my own relationship with Jesus.
Yeah.
And it's something that I just feel in my heart. And so many things that I learned in church, the good things I still carry with me today. But there's just so many things that I knew even as a kid was just wrong that I was being taught.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to question it because, you know, if you question it, then again, you're going to hell. And so I just kind of sat back and, you know, kept my mouth shut. But I was just like, this is BS. Like, this is not true.
It is. And that's the hardest part that I struggle with Christianity is there's so many people that give it. Because my grandfather's a Southern Baptist minister. I grew up, went to a private Christian school my whole life, a private Christian college. Like, that was my life. But I also realized that, like, there's a lot of judgment surrounding it as well if you're not in the right circle.
Yeah.
And it's even like an interview that I've said I've wanted to do is Carl Lentz from Hillsong, who, you know, he had the affair, but also I was like, he's also human. Yeah. By no means do I agree with that, but pastors are held to like this insane standard to where you can't screw up. Yeah. You can't do anything wrong. And I just feel like the judgment with it, like to make someone feel because you're gay, because something in your life is not what they think you should do, to make them feel less than or judged.
Well, for anyone to be able to take sin and put levels of sin on something is ridiculous. Because if you read the Bible, sin is a sin. That's it.
It's sin. They're all equal.
So if you get divorced, it's exactly the same quote unquote sin as me being gay, right?
Yeah, literally.
So if we're all on the same level, then we should all be able, to be forgiven at the same level. But there was many churches where, you're not like physically kicked out of the church, but you're kind of run out of the church. And so my family, they had to move churches a lot because once I came out. And it was, and I hated that for them because when you come out, your family comes out.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky enough to live in New York and LA and like where it's very accepted and you feel, just normal, right? Yeah. And loved. But my family had to still be back home where, yes, majority of their friends are like, oh, God love you. It's, everything's fine. But then you God love you.
Or God bless you.
God bless you. But then you have, another large percentage of people that just really judge you enough and talked about me in front of them in Sunday school lessons, using me as an example of what not to do. And how do you do that?
That is shocking to me.
My mother. Yeah, so, they changed church a few bits. They definitely went away from Southern Baptist because that's what they realized was like really the Southern Baptist Convention has a lot of
that Southern Baptist Convention though, and if people have done their research on it, there was just a huge meeting in Nashville a few months back about the corrupt nature of the Southern Baptist Convention and the abuse that goes on, but yet then we have stuff like this happening.
Well, and exactly. It's like, okay, let's look at it just black and white. Look at the whole drag queen thing going, and then comparing it to how many kids are molested in churches. Mm-hmm. How many drag queens do you hear molesting kids at drag shows? 0.
Yeah.
How many priests and everything have you heard molesting kids? Hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
So what are we really talking about here?
Yeah.
Are we really trying to protect kids, or are we just trying to make someone feel less than?
Yeah.
And, to me, I always go back to, look, I've read the Bible a lot. I've studied the Bible a lot. And the thing that I take from that is really the teachings of Jesus. And
love and
everything that he would do or he would say is exactly what I think a Christian should really be like. And so it's so cliche to say, but what would Jesus do in a situation? All you have to do is ask yourself that. And I'm telling you, what most of these quote unquote Christians are doing, Jesus would be so against. Mm-hmm. So against.
And it's like you hear he leaves the 99 to go to the 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I say.
Mm-hmm.
And so did your parents always know?
No. I asked them a couple of times.
Because you're
because even looking at myself as a kid in little videos, I'm like, ooh, I could tell. Come on. I could, he's too sweet. That one's too sweet. But I guess when the parents just kind of don't see it. I don't know what it is, because right after I came out, I asked my mom, because I thought I was being very obvious the last few years. I already was on boyfriend number 3. So I was like, so you didn't think my assistant was anything more than my assistant?
Yeah.
And she's like, well, now looking back, yeah, I see it. I totally see it looking back. But she's like, but in it, you're just in denial, I guess.
That's what I was about to say. Do you think it was just that Southern mentality of nope, not my kid?
Yeah, you just kind of put it out like that can't even be a possibility. Not at all. But she says, but looking back, there's instances where I totally get it now.
Have you guys heard of Tree Hut? Well, in case you haven't, they're the creators of America's #1 body scrub. And they've just released new hydrating gel washes. Skin quenching lather with a long-lasting scent. All washes are formulated with their hydrating oil complex to plump skin with renewing antioxidants, rich avocado, kiwi, and orange oils. Great for clearing your skin of dirt, oil, and grime while balancing its microbiome. All washes have a matching scrub made with real sugar, shea butter, and a special 6-oil blend that leaves skin smooth and hydrated. Complete your shower routine with Tree Hut. You can shop it at Target and Ulta, online and in store. Wow. And then when you came out at 27, so I had read that you came out on the cover of People magazine.
Yeah.
But before that, there were some maybe tabloids that were going to report on some things and maybe were going to out your story before you could.
Yes, exactly.
And what was that? How did that go down?
Well, again, I was already on boyfriend number 3, which sucks. By the way, being in the closet dating is the worst thing ever. And I mean,
you feel like a lie. Like
it is a lie. It's, my first boyfriend, met in Orlando. We moved to LA together, both in the closet. But, and we'd only basically spend every day inside. Like you couldn't go out really because you would figure, people would figure you out. Then the second boyfriend, again, he was in the closet, I was in the closet. We would have just kind of very small life together with maybe 10 people around us that knew about our relationship.
Yeah.
He'd have to go out one door, I'd have to go out another. It's just horrible. And then the third one, he was a little more outspoken. And, he was a gay activist. He was an Air Force pilot. I mean, he was older than me, so he had his life going on, and he was not hiding himself at all. He was never going back in the closet for me. So that really kind of opened up my world to this gay world, and I started meeting gay friends and through him, and it made me finally comfortable enough to be relaxed about it. So people knew about it. I told my family at that point.
Wow.
And so I was kind of living this out life privately, but I just didn't know I needed to make a statement about it. I didn't think people cared at that point. I just was like, who cares?
But also, too, when you came out, it wasn't, I feel like in the past, 5 years, maybe, it's become very normal to be like,
so
you
much
see
easier.
Man with a man, you're like,
no,
okay.
It's just part of the world now.
Yeah.
And no one kind of bats an eye at it. And like my generation, because we came from that being so hidden, and thank God we were the last generation to really have to hide ourselves. And I know a lot of people out there are still very scared and, stay in the closet for many, many reasons, but there's so much more acceptance. And
there is.
And when you come out, there's a community that really embraces you. And I felt that when I came out. I didn't know it was there because I was so scared.
Yeah.
But, when I first came out, the magazines were going to write the story with or without me because I was in P-Town, this gay little town.
Okay.
And
so that's what, do you remember the day that you got a call either from publicist, manager that was like, hey, this is about to come out?
Oh, I do. Yeah. Because it was right after P-Town. And I remember I was in the bathroom line and I was talking to a guy and he's like, hey, you're Lance Bass. I'm like, yeah. He goes, wait, you're gay? I was like, and it was the first time I told any stranger, yes, I am. And it happened to be a reporter of all people. And so, he went back to and I think it was the Washington Post or something. He was somewhere in Washington. And then they're the ones who called, and then another magazine called, another paper called. They're like, look, it's been confirmed that he's gay, so we're going to write the story. We'd like to write it with you, so it's the truth. And so then I knew, okay, I am going to have to say something. And I was at the time happy to do it.
Yeah.
It was scary.
Because you don't know how it's going to be perceived.
Well, I just thought it was going to be really negative. Because, look, in a boy band, I was called fag every day. I mean, I was just
I hate that word.
I know. But all 5 of us we were gay. I mean, if we were in a boy band, you're gay. So, I was always called gay, even though people didn't really know it, but just being of who I was and in what band I was, we were homosexuals. Yeah. So I knew what it was like to, homophobia coming your way, which kept me in the closet even more because I'm like, God, if I'm getting it like this.
Imagine when I. Yeah.
I told the story with people. I thought they would tell the best story, but I remember getting the call, I think it was a Monday, and then Tuesday I was doing the interview and taking a picture, and then they put the, people on Thursday. So it was 3 days later, I ripped the Band-Aid
Please
off.
tell me you got paid really well for that.
0.
What?
And if I would, because it was such a whirlwind, now looking back, I'm like, I could have requested.
You could have cashed in on that.
$1 million donated to GLAAD, right? Or something there could have been an amazing donation happening with that. Because I just did not know how big that story was going to be. I didn't know it was going to be on the cover of People magazine, which no gay person coming out gets the cover of a magazine anymore. Thank God. There's no reason for it.
So normalized. It's
and I remember my niece who was, old enough to kind of now understand, I remember her getting the People magazine and she told my sister, she's like, why is this news? Why is this even a thing?
Yeah.
And that made me feel so happy because I knew that generation just did not care.
Well, yeah, it was just like my little brother, he's 16, and him growing up, it's like he has never looked at someone and seen color, sexuality, gender, none of that. He's just like, if you're cool, you're cool.
Yeah.
Like, I love you as a person.
Yeah.
And I think that's the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, that generation, they care. You know, they really care about people, about the environment, animals. They really just have, and I love that. I don't know where they got that from, but or maybe my generation. Maybe we taught them well. I don't know.
Or maybe you taught us what not to do.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man.
Wow. So that had to have been a whirlwind.
Yeah. I remember I went to Catalina Island, which I'd never been to, but I thought, no one will find me here. So I went to this little Catalina Island and spent a few days there just to disappear. Didn't watch TV, didn't look at any internet, anything.
Amazing.
Because I didn't want to hear the negativity.
Yeah.
Because I knew in my heart, I'm like, this is gonna go bad. All the, the Tonight Show and all those are gonna be like making fun of me. And I didn't want the gay community, who I didn't even know at all, to be pissed at me because like, great. So we get the obvious gay one from a boy band to come out and now embarrass our community. I didn't want me to be the clown.
You were your own worst enemy at that point.
Yeah. So, but then all the straight media took the high road and just really, just like we were saying, just like, who cares anymore? This is great. Like, who cares? And the fact that it was so positive, that everything that came out just made me so happy. I was like, oh my God.
That's amazing. And so did the dynamic change at all within the band? Like after, when did it end? When did NSYNC end?
We didn't know it was going to end, but it was the last tour in 2002.
Okay.
But we didn't officially end things till 2005. We didn't sit around a table until 2005 and be like, you know what? It's like, we can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And then that's when I felt comfortable enough to that was the next year that I came out. I'm like, great. If I don't have anything to hide, because I was just protecting the band.
That's crazy though, that you went through such a huge part of your career still while in the closet.
Yeah, it was.
Did the guys know?
I'm sure they assumed. There are definitely rumors about, but I mean, there's rumors about other guys in my band that were gay.
Yeah.
But I think we're so close and we're like brothers. There's no way that they didn't have an idea.
Yeah, that's what I say. So it's actually funny. The next interview after you is Colton Underwood.
Oh, yeah.
And so Colton, I called off a relationship. I was dating this guy in the NBA, asshole, ended it. And then I was just trying to make people jealous. So Colton, I invited him to the ACM Awards with me. He went to the ACM Awards. It was before he went on to The Bachelor. And when I met him, I was like, okay, you're interesting, And my makeup artist, I told her, I was like, I'm pretty sure he's gay. Yeah. And she was like, no, he's not, whatever. And then it was hilarious because then he did an interview and he basically said he just wasn't that into me. And then 8 months later, he comes out as being gay, and I sent my makeup artist a text. I was like, told you so.
I know. You're always told, don't assume and, don't put stereotypes on people. But, sometimes, you have to use your common sense sometimes.
Yeah.
And common sense can, it's not a bad thing to assume someone's gay to me. I mean,
to me, it's a normal thing.
Yeah.
It's
why be embarrassed of it?
Exactly. But it was not wanting to insult anyone or not wanting for anyone to think I mean it in a judgmental way, because I'm like, it's normal.
If I assume you're straight, why not just assume you're gay? I mean,
see, that's what I said. I was like, do you know how many times I was asked when my first sexual experience was?
As long as you're not doing it in a negative way, but obviously you're not looking at it as a negative.
No, I'm I think my best friend's gay and lives with me, and we like to say we're a little married couple, it's the greatest thing ever. When NSYNC ended, was it just a mutual agreement or?
Not really. It was just a weird ending because we're still so close.
Yeah.
We're brothers. There was no fight. There was no reason, that we should have just been like, oh, call it quits. But it really was just all our individual projects started getting in the way, and especially Justin's. He had no idea, we had no idea that first album would just blow up.
Yeah.
And so it just kept getting bigger and bigger, his solo career, that there was no way he could take a break. Because, again, at that time, you're always told by the record label, out of sight, out of mind, out of sight, out of mind. So if you don't work every single week, someone's going to replace you. And so that was in his mentality, just like with NSYNC. And again, we did a hiatus for so long, out of sight, out of mind. People forgot about us. Oh. But his solo career just went incredible. So, you know, he just got to the point and said, I don't have time for this at all. And he didn't want to keep us held back.
Yeah.
So we needed to go off and, figure out what the next step in our career would be. So that happened, I think, in 2005 at the end of our charity event. Okay.
And would you guys ever do like a comeback tour?
I mean,
like you guys and the Backstreet Boys together.
Right? Oh my gosh, everyone's been asking for that. That's for sure. And those boys are killing it. They have not stopped. Sometimes very jealous.
Well, yeah, because their comeback, when they did that, everyone went absolutely insane.
They're as big as they've ever been right now. Like,
yeah.
This is the moment for them, and it's a beautiful thing to see. Same New Kids on the Block too. Like pop music, especially from that era, is really killing it right now.
So would you do?
I would for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and in the right situation, I think all the guys would.
Yeah.
But again, it would have to come timing with Justin's album or JC's writing here or my movie that I'm doing over here. So putting 5, I call us cats together, is very hard. Like wrangling us is very hard.
Because I feel like even if you did like a 10-show thing,
yeah,
like a 10-show stadium,
and we get offered that all the time. I mean, the amount of money that they put in front of us to go do a 10-day residence in Vegas, a 10-day stadium tour around the world, I mean, is insane. And it's stupid to say no to that. It really is, but. Us 5 guys, I guess we're stupid.
I know. I'm about to be like,
we're just
you are real dumb.
Yeah.
Like, would you, let's say all of you wanted to do it except one person. Mm-hmm. Would you guys consider, like, has that been a topic of conversation?
I mean, yeah, we've always talked about things like that in different iterations of nsync. I mean, even we did Coachella a few years ago with just 4 of us.
Yeah.
And, it's a discussion. It's like, okay, we obviously want to do all 5, but Justin is his last day on tour, so he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And then Justin gives us his blessing, like, do it. Like, the 4 of y'all go up with Ariana, do it. So we would never do it without the blessing of someone else. It's always
to have that respect.
Yeah, it's always going to be a group thing. And we will all decide as a 5 what the brand of nsync will do.
That's amazing. Yeah. Well, I personally think you guys are dumb if you don't do it.
I agree. One day, I mean, I just want to do it before I'm 50. It's like,
how old are you?
I'm 43.
Okay, I think you do not look
but
43.
Like, my knees are still good. I'm good. Like, I'm a better dancer now, so I'm ready to go.
Would you change up the look?
Well, I mean, I got purple hair now, so I think, I think I'm more prepared these days than I was back then. Because I was trying to hide myself.
And now you don't have to.
No, I mean, I look back at nsync interviews, and I am the most boring person in the world because I just want to be like, I didn't want anyone to hear me.
Yeah.
Because you always heard, like, people saying, oh, if they say that word, that means they're gay. So I just never wanted to speak. So I was the most boring person in the world.
I feel like you would be so much more just energetic, loving life. Like, it would be a completely different show.
It would be fun. And the guys would have fun too, because like Joey tells me all the time, he's like, God, if you were out during the group, we would have had so much fun, because they would have poked me so many times, just like trying to, like, I don't know, find guys for me and make fun of me the whole time. I mean, they would have just really berated me, which would have been, like brothers do.
That's how you love. Yeah.
Just like brothers do.
That's what I say to my friends. I'm like, the moment I stop giving you shit, you should be concerned.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you should be really concerned.
That is love.
So when did you meet your now husband?
We met, it's an interesting story, because we kind of met at Halloween. Gosh, that was 2010 or 2009. Yeah, I think it was the end of 2009. And so I have a picture and he's best friends with all my best friends. He'd only lived in LA for a year. He's from Miami Beach. But he was friends with all my friends. But I have a picture with him in costume, but I never met him. Yeah. Like, no one had said, hey, this is Michael. And then the next day, we're at another Halloween party in a different costume, and I have another picture with him, but again, no one introduced us. Yeah. It was just this guy in a costume, and I didn't know what he looked like underneath that. And so that was it. And then that January, just a couple months later, I was at a birthday party that he was at in Palm Springs, and I was heading back to LA, stopped by the house, and he was there, with all my friends. I'm like, oh, who's that? And I didn't know that I had met him at Halloween.
Oh my gosh.
And so we talked for like 10 minutes before I left and really hit it off. I'm like, gosh, this guy's awesome. But I'm thinking, of course, he's the straight guy at the party. Like, that's why I thought, like, of course I'm going to be attracted to the straight guy at the party. And then on the way home, he Facebook poked me.
Facebook
Hey,
poked
kids,
you?
Facebook
Okay.
poke back in the day. No, and I'd never been poked before. That sounds really dirty.
That's amazing.
That's going to be the promo right there.
I've never
been poked before. So he Facebook poked me, and it started off as a friendship. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the guy. So we spent every day together for a month and a half because I knew I needed to get over the attraction because I knew he didn't like me.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, if we become really close, then I won't be attracted to him anymore. And it went opposite. We just kind of fell in love after being best friends.
Stop. That's amazing. And so how long were you together before you got married?
Let's see. So that was 2010. We were together maybe 6 years before.
Wow.
No. We were together only 4 years because we got married in 2014. God, I got married in 2014.
Hey, it's fine. I was literally talking yesterday, and I was like trying to figure out when I got engaged. I was like, I don't remember when I got engaged,
crazy.
called it off. I don't know.
Well, so 4 years together, but also I really wanted to marry him before that, but it wasn't legal. So we just we never thought we could get married those first couple of years.
Oh, wow. I
So-
didn't take that into consideration.
Yeah, so it's like you never really talk about it because like we couldn't get married. So you're just used to like, okay, it's just a partnership, and but I grew up obviously with my view of marriage and wanting that and wanting a family unit to raise kids. But you're kind of told you can't do that. And then I remember, then we started fighting for equality, and through that fight, that's when I realized I'm like, no, we're doing this, legal or not. We are getting engaged, and we're showing the world that we can have a marriage that people can be proud of.
Yeah.
And so, so we got married 2014, and it's been a long time.
Wow.
We're together 11 years now.
That's insane. That's amazing.
No, 12 years. 12, it's 23. Oh my gosh.
That's something to be so proud of.
Yeah, and in gay years, as they say, it's like dog years.
I
so
know.
it's like-
Literally.
So we've been together almost 100 years.
For real. Me and my best friend Chad joke about it all the time. You can be dating someone 1 minute and then like they're dead to you the next.
Yeah, it's a small community, and again, you're raised in a community that you look at relationships differently. When you're told, okay, you can't have a marriage, you're not supposed to have kids, then what else are you supposed to do except just date and have fun? And the community is so small that it overlaps a lot. So
very incestual.
it is, and so many of my ex-boyfriends are our best friends. I mean, seriously, like 2 of my ex-boyfriends are now together, having kids together, and that's our best friends.
See, that's gotta. I try to ration that in my mind.
But maybe it's a guy thing too. I don't know if it's like just guys are just cool, way more cool with everything.
But like, I think when dating someone, like, would I be comfortable in being friends with a girl that I know clearly he's been all up in and comfortable with? No.
I think it has something to do with you have the same body parts, so you don't get as jealous. I don't know. I think it's like if a woman saw her man with another woman, you'd be like, wait, no. But like, it's just weird when you have the same anatomy because I don't think there's just less jealousy.
No, I'm jealous.
Someone needs to research that. Someone needs to research that.
I am jealous as hell. I'm like, wait, you've slept with that person? Now we're like going out to dinner with them?
Yeah.
This is odd.
Yeah. No, we just get over things. I mean, there's definitely people that act that way in our community.
Yeah.
They're very jealous, but I mean, I dated majority Brazilians and they get really jealous. But after the fact, you're very, they're good friends.
Yeah. Okay, and so you have 2 kids now.
I do.
Twins.
Yeah.
Which I love. That's my dream. I hope I can knock it out that way.
It's the jackpot, especially boy-girl twin. It's like, bam, done, got it all.
So how was that process? When did it start? How was it?
It was a long process. I always knew I wanted kids by 40. That was always my goal. I'm like, you know what? I want to have kids by 40. So around 38 is when I started talking about, wanting, because I knew he wanted kids when we first met. So that was one of the first things I loved about him is that he wanted a family. But he was 23 too. So I'm like, ooh.
Okay, so
I didn't know he was that young.
What's the age difference in you guys?
Well, let's see, 7 years. Yeah, 7.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Ooh, I've had
But at
way
23,
further than that in mine.
but 23 and 31 are pretty different. They are.
Yes.
They are.
Yeah.
And I didn't know he was that young when I met him. And then finally, like I don't know why I never asked him how old he was because were given our pros and cons of like what we wanted out of a relationship, and I was like, I will never date anyone under 28.
You know,
he's like, I'm 23. I'm like, oh God, okay.
Maybe I can lower my number a little bit.
Yeah. But I think having no expectations, I think is why we're married today. Because I really went in to be like, you know what? I want what I want. I've been through some horrible relationships. I know what I want, and I'm not. I'm
and too, with the age thing, it's like I've explained to people. I'm like, guys, it's not like I go out here with a sign on my forehead that says like, up 40 and above, come at me. It just like, you meet people and you connect, and then you find out their age, and you're like, oh God, you could date my mom.
I know.
This is weird.
But you know, the universe gives you what you need. So at 38, we were like, okay, do we want to have kids? I'm like, yes, he wanted kids. So we started the process. I had no idea about surrogacy, IVF, that was something brand new to me. So we met with surrogacy companies, and we were very lucky to find an egg donor and our surrogate very quickly.
Okay.
But then the next 2 years was hard because we just couldn't yield enough eggs, make an embryo. We were pregnant once, but lost them after 6 weeks. Oh. So there was just a lot of downfalls for years, which most of the people that I know that went through surrogacy went through the same experience. They always kind of like lost the first. It's very strange.
Yeah.
But we just kept going, and we went through. Finally, our 10th donor is who we ended up using, and we found another surrogate, and then implanted, was pregnant, and then it stuck, and it survived, and we were super happy. October 13th, got some babies.
So, what's the surrogate process? Okay, because when I think of surrogate. I think of like a Lifetime movie, and you see all these scary ass movies.
Which it can be.
Of like a surrogate acting crazy as hell, trying to take your kids, whatever. Yes. Like, did you have an easy process there or no?
I did. Yeah, you always think of those movie elements. You're like, okay, it's gonna be like Swim Fan, right? It's like you're gonna have like someone just stalking you. Yeah. No, it was so great. Our surrogate is amazing. She lived up in Washington State.
Okay.
And she lived on a military base, so I felt like, I feel like that's safe, right? I mean, she's kind of there surrounded by a lot of military people. So we, obviously would stay in contact. She would send us all, we would kind of FaceTime when she would have, doctor's appointments. And then we never met the donor because a lot of people, they just want that separate. Like the donor, ours was anonymous. She was anonymous. She didn't want to be known. We didn't care. Like we eventually want to know our egg donor because I just want to know.
Did you get to see photos?
Oh yeah, it's so fascinating. So yeah, you get a book of just all these women that are blessing everyone with their eggs. Yeah. It's like such a beautiful thing to give someone. But what you look for, especially in a donor, is health history. Yeah. So they have everything about their health, their parents' health, their grandparents' health, pictures. I mean, everything. So their whole entire lives. You see baby pictures of them. So I mean, it's just, you get as much information as you can.
Honestly, that's kind of awesome because it's like build a baby.
Yeah, it is build a baby. Yeah, so exactly.
Like, you can pick someone hot and be like, okay, my kid's like hot.
Yeah, well, I mean, sometimes they go the opposite way. So, but
that is
one thing that I looked at. Intelligence, like schooling, that type of stuff. And then the one thing because our surrogacy company was like, I got the girl. We just met her. They became best friends with her. Like, this is the woman for you. And so we researched everything, and it turned out being perfect. And the one thing I loved about it, she was 5'9", and we're both short. Yes. So I'm like, well, maybe this would give our kids a fighting chance to be like a little tall, which is good because now they're on track to be like 6 foot.
That's amazing.
And I don't have anyone in my family 6 foot. So that was definitely one of the reasons that I wanted the egg donor was, because she had a little height with her too, but also very healthy and all that, and just a wonderful girl. And then just 3 weeks ago, we got to meet her. Yes.
You got to meet her?
Yes, it was great. Because again, you never know.
Did she meet the kids?
Oh yeah, and she came over, held the kids, and it's so crazy because she looks exactly like my son. Oh, like his face is her face. Thank God, because she's gorgeous. And it was just so great to see. She's just so lovely.
And how did that come about?
She was moving away, and the surrogacy company knew that we wanted to meet her, and so they asked her. They're like, "Hey, since you're moving, would you like to, meet the parents of the eggs that you gave. And so she was down for it, and she's just so chill. Like, there's nothing weird about it at all. She's going to be a part of our lives. See,
I love that though, and having that honesty with your kids of like, this is
but just think also, because I'm thinking, look, I just want to be open and honest. Like, this is normal now. This is how you have kids. This is how straight people have kids. This is how gay people have kids. This is just part of the world. Thank goodness for this technology and this science that we can do this to have the healthiest babies ever. And in my lifetime, I hope that insurance will always cover an IVF, for ladies out there. But if you want to have the healthiest children ever, then let it be affordable for everyone to be able to test out your eggs and test out your embryos before you go through it, because you can weed out so much.
Yes.
And so, wait, where was I? I just went on a tangent.
With her. So it wasn't weird.
It wasn't weird at all.
Part of your life.
Yeah, and I just feel like she's going to be, their biological mom, and I need them to know. And I won't, I'm going to have their picture in their nursery, and they're going to know exactly who that was and how they're involved in their lives. And I think it's a beautiful thing, because if you think about it, all this anonymous donations out there.
Yeah.
What if you date your brother? What if you what if you have kids with your first cousin and you just don't know because everything was anonymous?
With that, it was like a documentary of that man who had like 100
the doctor that
or something.
Yeah.
And it's like that happened.
And everyone's
one of them dated or something.
Well, of course it's going to happen. So I guess we have the 23andMe. So get on that, guys, because it's a different world out there. You never know what sister you have out there. Yeah.
For real.
Yeah, but I'm not going to, mine are, so they're going to know their biological mom, because they're going to make sure that they don't date her kids.
Literally. Erin, you're back on the mic. What you got this week?
Well, I just thought I would come and help you out with this hint ad, because I have a personal memoir. Would you like to hear what it is?
I would love to hear what this personal memoir is.
So I am single and I don't have any children, but I feel like over the course of the last few months, I've learned what it's like to have kids because I've been traveling with you.
Yes. I was about to correct you and say, hold up, you do have a child. It is me.
Yeah, well, yeah, and you're correct. So you know where I'm going here. And you know how moms have to travel with like snacks and games and certain distractions?
Yeah.
I've been doing that with you because neither of us are that patient.
No.
So sometimes when we're stuck in traffic, there's long lines on a plane, et cetera, I like to just feed you things so that you don't get so verbally impatient that we get ourselves in trouble. And I've been doing that with Hint, all the different flavors of water that they have. As soon as I feel like you're about to get real impatient and maybe say a couple words to somebody that's taking a long time in front of you, I just hand you a new flavor.
See, that's actually brilliant because I get hangry, I get thirsty, I get very impatient. And that's why Hint is kind of bomb, because it's not boring. Plus, it keeps you hydrated and busy. You know, I get to drink my drink, so my mouth is closed, and it's wonderful. I also love the fact that Hint has 0 calories, diet sweeteners, and no sugar. Hint is on a mission to help people drink more water by making it taste great. I hate water. I do. That's why Hint is what I live by. I have a refrigerator full of it.
It's also perfect for you because you don't like to go to the grocery store. No. So they'll deliver it straight to your door. Plus, you got kids to keep hydrated right now, and they're more likely to drink flavored things.
Exactly. The kids are me and I am them. We're the same.
We know.
Hint is pure infused water, and they have over 25 flavors. Classics like watermelon, blackberry, and pineapple, as well as smash-ups like blueberry lemon and peach raspberry, as well as cherry, crisp apple, and coconut. 0 sugar, 0 diet sweeteners, 0 calories, and Hint is available at retail and club stores across the U.S. Also, if you don't want to go to a store, that's fine. Hint water can be delivered directly to your door. All you have to do is go to hintwater.com, and if you use the code UNLOCKED, new customers can actually get Hint for just $1 a bottle with free shipping when they order 3 cases. That's 36 bottles for $36 and free shipping. You can find Hint water at retail stores like Walmart, Target, and Kroger, or have it delivered to your door from hintwater.com/unlocked. hint.com/unlocked. If you use the code unlocked, new customers can get Hint for just $1 a bottle with free shipping when they order 3 cases. That's 36 bottles for $36 and free shipping. What will you and your husband go by, like for your kids to call you?
You know, I've learned that you can't really. They're going to choose whatever they're going to choose, and that's my sister. She was the first grandkid in our family, so I remember my Mimi and Papa, my grandparents. They wanted Meemaw and Pawpaw, whatever, like as southern as you get. And she couldn't say it. She kept saying Mimi and Papa, and then it just kind of stuck because it was just cute. And then they found out Mimi is actually French for grandmother. And so it's just Mimi and Papa. And so with us, we want him to be Dada, and I'm going to be Baba. Because I think Baba's really cute. But they're saying Dada a lot. It's really hard to say Baba, but I have a feeling they're just going to make up whatever they want.
So it's funny. So we were talking about Shane, and so his kids call one of them Dad and the other Pop.
Yeah. See, and I originally wanted to be Pop because I'm a pop star.
Yeah.
But my dad's grandfather name is Poppy, which I think would have been the best. I'm like, you took my dad name. Like, I should be Poppy. But yeah, so I mean, I would love if they call me Pop, Papa, Baba, whatever they want to call me. I'm good. My son's weird because, like, my girl is Violet Betty, and I just love her name.
That is so Southern.
I know, Violet Betty, and then my son is Alexander James, but he doesn't look like an Alexander to me. Like, it's hard for me to call him Alexander or Alex. I call him. We have a funny story. I call him Panucci. Because my father-in-law told my mother-in-law that that's what we were calling him before he was born as a joke. And she was like, you're not calling him Panucci. And for 2 days, she just was so upset that we were going to be naming him Panucci. But now it kind of stuck, and that's all I call him now is Panucci. So yeah, that. And he looks like a Buster. I call him Buster a lot because he is a
Do you think you would ever change his name?
No, Michael would never let me. But I did.
Really?
I did think about it. Because his first name was Buster. Like, because when he was born, he was a twin boy and girl.
Okay.
And so they didn't even know it was going to be a boy or girl. They had no names picked out. So on the birth certificate, they just wrote Buster and Peanut.
Stop. That's
so his first name's Buster. I'm like, why didn't we think of this? Because Buster James, he is a Buster James, not an Alexander James. But yeah, so I have a feeling he will be Buster in school or a Panucci, but probably not Alexander.
Okay.
He's just not an Alexander.
That's amazing. So with your kids, with the process of like, I have really good like gay best friends who have had kids, and you can tell like which is which came from which of you. Can you tell?
Oh, easily.
Okay.
Yeah, mine is the boy. And he act just like me as a kid.
Really?
My mom's like, that was you. Just very ornery.
Did you know that going into it, or did you want it to just be like a surprise?
Oh no, we knew, because what you do with IVF, you make the embryos, and then you test the embryos, and then the ones that aren't viable, they're done.
Yeah.
But then there's like percentage grade on everything. It's like this one has a 99% chance of making it. This one has an 80%. So we chose the healthiest boy and the healthiest girl, and we put them in to have the best results.
Yeah.
And they both stuck. And, with twins, it's sometimes one, gets aborted. But they both, stuck, and they were super, super healthy.
Wow, that's amazing. Because I've had some friends who were like, didn't want to know.
Yeah.
And they were just like, they implanted them, they had twins. But then it was hilarious because one of them, so they're like in the TV world, and it was hilarious because their babies came out. And one of the guys he's a black guy, super attractive guy. The other guy is like as pale as can be, redhead. And they had triplets. And 2 of their kids came out with like, beautiful, like darker skin and curly hair. And then the little boy came out like
a leprechaun.
Snow White, red hair. So you knew exactly like which was which.
Well, it was weird because when we first had, because, we knew we put a boy of mine in and a girl in his, so we knew, and our friends knew, but when they came out, they did look opposite. Like the boy looked like him and the girl looked like me. Wow. Because I'm Irish, I'm like blonde and a little reddish, and she was very pale, looked like a Russian doll, like red hair, just very, very pale. And then they're both, she's Latina and he's Latino.
Yeah.
So she got no Latina genes at all.
Really?
But he looks very, Latino. So he had, the dark eyes and the dark hair and very dark skin.
Yeah.
But my husband, has the darker features and I have the lighter features. So everyone thought that, oh, well, there's the Irish baby and this is the, Michael's dark haired baby. But it was opposite. But now that they've kind of grown into themselves, like now you can really tell that my daughter definitely has his eyes. She even walks the same as him. It's very strange.
That's amazing.
And then the boy is just, very ornery like me, and it's just a stinker.
Hey, that's great though.
Push buttons.
Now you're probably like, wow. Mm-hmm. I'm mom, dad. I'm so sorry.
I thank my mom a lot. Yeah, like, was I like that? And she was like, yeah, just like that. I was like, that's a lot.
It's so funny though, because I remember my little brother. So he came along 9 years after my mom had her tubes tied.
Oh, really?
So he was like surprised.
No way.
And he was supposed to be a twin. And she lost one of them. And now we say, I'm like, dude, you ate your twin in the womb. Because he's like huge. He's like 6'1". My dad's
got more nutrients.
I know. My dad's like 5'10". My mom's 5'5". I'm like, where did you come from? But so that's our joke. We're like, you ate your twin in the womb. My mom's like, Savannah, it's not funny.
It happens a lot. You absorb your twin.
You do.
Yes, it is.
You do.
Part of life.
Holy cow. So do you want more kids?
I do. Michael does not.
Really?
I mean, look, it's been tiring for sure.
Yeah.
And he does, a lot because, I'm working a lot. I'm away from the house a good bit, and then he's stuck home with them. So I know he tears his hair out a lot more than me.
Yeah.
So I understand him being like, okay, I'm good with 2. But I've always dreamt of at least 3.
Okay.
And, we have a couple embryos left. So
see, why not?
I'm like, why not? And I'm telling my friends, I'm like, look, we have some embryos. So, like, if you are having trouble getting take them. Like, I am giving them away to any of my friends that want them.
Wow. Are you serious?
I'm so serious. Like, I'm so serious. Like, because I know how difficult it is to go through that process and how expensive it is.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind my DNA and your kids, just give me a call, because I would love to be able to.
That's amazing though, because
and be a godfather. It's like, it would be like, oh, that's my biological kid, but just be a part of their lives in a godfather role.
Do you not think that would be a challenge for you?
No. I think it'd be great. I would love to have an orphanage. Are you kidding me? Just like, let's have all the babies and just, I would love to, yeah.
Well, that's
facts
amazing.
Of life. I'd love to facts of life it.
The facts of life. That's amazing. It's crazy because, like, even for me, like, I'm going to go through the process of freezing my eggs. Mm-hmm. I am young, but I also have health stuff to where it's like a doctor.
I think every lady should do it. I mean, even at 21, just freeze your eggs just so you have them.
And so you don't feel the pressure. Yeah. So it's like, I say it's like an insurance policy. Mm-hmm. But the sad part is how expensive it is.
And again, I just hope in our lifetime that.
It's like my insurance, I want to say like $600-$700 a month for health insurance, and like doesn't cover it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Which is crazy, because I'm like, you cover Viagra for men, you should cover this.
Well, men control the health universe. That 100%. Is for sure. Because I mean, just look how long it's taken for them to do or to come out with now male birth control.
Yes.
We have had that science for decades. And we're like, just now bringing it out.
Exactly. I'm like, and my body and my hormones have had to be jacked up because like you can't do anything about it.
I know.
That's insane. So, okay, so you do have embryos left.
I do.
That's amazing though, that you're willing to, like, I guess, donate them.
Yeah, I would love to give that gift to someone. Yeah.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. And would you, if you didn't do that, do you think you would ever adopt like a kid that just is in the foster care system?
100%. If we had our, in a perfect world, I always said, okay, we're going to have our first kid. It would be nice if they were twins. And then the third one we were going to adopt, because I know how hard it is, for these kids out there, especially kids. Because I was like, okay, well, when the kids are, 7, 8, like adopt an 8-year-old, like a kid that's been in the system for a while that just had no chance. But like to, adopt a little older kid would be great. And I'm still very open to that. Because
what's so sad is the older these kids get, the less people want them.
Exactly.
So a lot of them just age out of the foster care system.
And that's why I wasn't even joking about having like an orphanage. I swear, when I'm older, if I had like a facts of life type of orphanage where it's teenagers, right? It's like, you're basically more of a mentor to these teenagers and trying to get them, into their life, before they turn 18. Yeah. I would love to be that influence on them.
Well, do you feel like you're at a point in your life, or have you, because I know even just the platform I've been given, I feel like I finally reached a point where I'm like, okay, I was on TV for 10 years and I didn't do anything good with it.
I say the same thing about nsync.
Like I have such a platform. I'm like, I could have helped.
Because when you're in it, you're not thinking. When you're staying that busy, you're not privy to what the world's needing right now.
You're very tone deaf.
Yeah, because you're selfish about what you're doing. It's like, I have this opportunity. I'm going to take advantage of it. I'm being told what to do. You have to do this. But yeah, I say it all the time. You know, we did have our own charity with nsync, and we raised a lot of money for children's charities. But I had a huge platform to really make a difference.
And you didn't do anything with it.
Coming out in the height of nsync.
Yeah.
How different would that have been? Maybe that would have been horrible, but maybe it would have changed a lot of people's minds a lot earlier.
Yeah.
You know, just really finding environmental issues. I didn't know that the environment was going to hell during nsync. Like, I never was privy to any of that. Like, I remember the ozone layer had a hole in it. You know, we all came together and fixed that. But I didn't realize how dire the situation was with global warming.
Yeah.
Because I never knew about it. I never learned about that, you know, in the height of nsync. But yeah, I wish I could have had or used that platform to really move the needle on a few issues.
Mm-hmm. And is there anything now that you're like, all right, that's what I want to be involved in. Mm-hmm. I want to bring awareness to it. I want to make a difference. So
many things. And that's the problem, because after nsync, I was just all about charity. But then you get spread so thin that you feel like you're not doing anything.
And there are a lot of charities that you start to get involved with, and then you're like, oh, wait, hold up.
Oh, and I'm telling you, half the charities out there are just frauds.
Exactly.
They don't do the work that they're supposed to. So you really have to research who you're working with. But I've learned, you know, the things that I'm passionate about, you know, environment, you know, really, you know, I love animals, and that's what really got me into environment. Mm-hmm. And just really learning what is happening to this planet and how we easily are the ones that are messing it up, and how easy it is to kind of rectify it. But now we're getting a little too late because of how selfish this world is, and just the misinformation. Just everyone just always says, no, it's not that good. No, it's the conspiracy theories are insane. Mm-hmm. And combating all the conspiracy theories is basically 99% of your work. Yeah. But with environment, and I think one of the things people really aren't talking about is, you know, child trafficking. Human trafficking is just, it's a world people wouldn't even understand, because it is so dark and so real, and millions of people are going through it. I worked with an organization that touched on that was about rescuing women and children from sex trafficking. Yeah. And you don't even realize it. And it's like one of the biggest things. I have friends who are like, oh, strip clubs here and there. And I have never in my life been in a strip club. Don't judge people who do. But since educating myself on trafficking, so many women that are in these strip clubs are there not because they want to be there, but because they're forced to be there. Yeah. And it's sad, because I feel like we only bring awareness to things that affect celebrities. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's the headlines. And that's the thing. Unless it affects you, you don't really care. Exactly. Mm-hmm. That's what I spoke about recently. As I was about the prison system and our justice system. I was like, I was tone deaf to it. Exactly. I didn't give a shit because it didn't affect me. Mm-hmm. But now it affects my life, and now I'm getting into it. And it's so sad when you talk about trafficking and abuse, because it starts high up. Mm-hmm. So if you've got people in our prison system that are getting raped and molested and abused, how do you think it's not happening to the people next door to you? Exactly. Because people don't care. No. Mm-mm. No. That's amazing. That's amazing. Mm. I love the fact that you're getting involved in that, because I feel like too many people have a platform that goes to waste, and I'm one of those people that's guilty of that. And now I'm like, all right, I want to fix it. Yeah. And it's, you know, it's all about just reminding people over and over, because you can, you know, do a campaign like human trafficking, right? But then until you remind them every year about what you're trying to do, people just forget. They're like, oh yeah, you did that a few years ago. But you just have to keep beating people over the head. But like, remember, care about this. Yes, exactly. Adopt, don't shop. Like, come on. Why are you buying animals still? That's amazing. Adopt, don't shop. That's amazing. Yeah. What would you say is the one thing, if you don't do anything else right, like in your life, what's the one thing you want your kids to remember you as? Gosh. I guess I just want my kids to, I like what we were just saying. I want them to know that I tried to make the world a better place. You know, I really want to leave a positive effect instead of a negative effect on this planet. And that's with what I do with environment, with how I make you feel. You know, I want me to leave this world knowing that I just put some kind of positivity into it.
Yeah. I love that. That's awesome. Because I will say, my dad is like my best friend in the entire world.
Yeah.
Best friend in the entire world. And the amount of time he invested in me and conversations and tough conversations and being a parent, but also being a friend.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's the greatest thing ever. And so I look at my parents and I'm like, no two people I respect more.
Yeah. And you're so lucky because, you know, most people don't get parents like that.
Yeah.
You know, to be able to be open and honest with a parent. Like I grew up, you know, where we were so conservative that you didn't really talk about, you know, you didn't get the sex talk. You didn't, you know, everything was just kind of ignored. You'll learn it on your own. The Lord will just like let you know. And so I never got those open conversations with my parents about like anything, any life.
Well, I remember my parents were so conservative, but then I remember when my dad got to a point with me to where he knew like I was dating this wannabe musician and my dad, like he knew how much I was into this guy. My dad was like, Savannah, I need to have a conversation with you. I know I have always told you wait until marriage to have sex. Like, you know, it's what the Bible says. He was like, I know you've already done it. Please, dear God, do not marry the first person you've ever had sex with. He's like, as your father, I should not be telling you that right now, but please do not do it. And I was like, and I feel like that was like the turning point of our relationship. That was more of just an open dialogue.
Just honest. It's finally honesty. Yeah.
For sure. And two, it was, I always knew. Now, granted, I was definitely afraid. I was like, when it came to drinking and stuff like that, like, dear God, don't let my parents find out or else. And did you find with being so successful at such a young age, were drinking and drugs a big thing?
Drinking was for me, but that was just because of this town I was from. I mean, I was drinking since I was 14 years old. Yeah. And mainly to escape being gay. Okay. So I really relied on me being drunk in order to get out of situations because I was gay. So and so like so
it was a coping mechanism.
It was, so I would drink myself silly just so that I didn't have to go home with a girl because I'd have an excuse. Oh, he's too drunk. Even if we went home together, right? Oh, I'm too drunk to do anything. So it was my coping mechanism of just hiding the fact that I was gay. So I drank a lot. So it had nothing to do with doing the rock star life. In fact, with nsync, and it's so weird, one of the biggest bands in the world, and I never saw a drug. Like my whole run with nsync, I mean, I saw like crew members smoking marijuana, but like never saw cocaine or ecstasy or heroin, like nothing. Really? Nothing where you think like, oh, rock star life on the road, people are doing drugs and stuff. Yeah. Never saw that, not one time.
That's insane.
So they, you know, they kept us pretty protected, which was nice. But the drinking, we drank. That was our vice for sure. And that's how I would cope.
And when did you realize that was your coping mechanism? And did you kind of stop the drinking at one point?
It really was until I first met my first boyfriend.
Okay.
And I realized, oh, that's what love feels like. And so then I started realizing that I wanted to be able to be with someone at the end of the night. I actually wanted to talk to someone and start a relationship. So that made me drink way less. Wow. I didn't want to be a mess. You know, I didn't want to embarrass myself or I wanted, you know, when I was drunk, I wanted them not to have sex with me. You know, I wanted to be like, he is a mess. There's no way I'm touching that. Yeah. I just wanted to be the most unattractive thing you could, you know, be around. Wow. So, yeah.
And we're all guilty of that. I feel like I know there's been a point in my life to where it's like you use alcohol to not feel what you feel.
Right.
And now the way I view alcohol is like, if I'm upset, I'm not in a good headspace, my life is falling apart, stay away from it. Yeah. Just because I know that like that can very well be used as a coping mechanism.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And I say like don't drink to make yourself feel any other way than what you feel right now.
Yeah, it's true. And so many people, especially in my community, they do drink and do drugs
Yeah.
because it gives them the personality. Because they feel like they always have to compete with all these very wild personalities, like our community's full of characters, and they feel boring if they're not doing something, and they have to keep up. And that's, you know, and I see that all the time. It's really sad.
Therapy,
yeah, I know.
it helps.
Yes. Oh, definitely therapy helps. Therapy is amazing. Everyone should be, and it should be free. Again, one other thing that should be free for everyone.
It's
IVF
crazy.
and freeze your eggs and therapy.
Exactly. What I love is there are some corporations that do abide by those guidelines.
It's great.
Which I love. There's a friend of mine, and her family owns like these steakhouses in Nashville. And she's like, if my employees have a problem, I'm going to help them with it.
Yeah.
Whether they need treatment for something, they need therapy, whatever it is, I will help them.
Because it eventually is going to affect your bottom line anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much. I love your open, honest personality.
You know, I've learned that I can't hide anything anymore. So
you're very friendly. You are I leave feeling better than when I sat down.
Oh, well, that's good.
So thank you.
That's what I want to leave.
And we'll wait for this nsync comeback.
Okay, I'll let you know as
You
soon
should
as
go
possible.
back and be like, people have told me we are a dumbass if we don't accept it.
Exactly. Yeah. But do I keep the purple hair? Like,
I love the purple hair.
It doesn't make me look like I'm trying to be too young.
No, I think if you did like purple, it's still kind of muted versus like a pink, I feel like would be too.
It's more because I'm starting to get a little, silver here.
Oh,
I would love to have silver hair. Like, I think it would be so fun. So at least purple is the closest to silver.
Yeah, I say stick with purple.
Yeah, okay. All right. All right. One vote for purple. I like it.
Yes.